can really take the map and drive the instructor inside the classroom and link it to the M step, then everything will move. You see it?
Ladies, third grade teachers, could you tell me, how do you think this professional development was for you today?
PD. It was productive. It was exciting.
We will never leave Mr. Hurt's advising.
Because the schools that I've worked with, the teachers I've worked with, their scores just go through the roof, because what I do is I talk about practical stuff that's practical. Because I'm a former teacher and also I'm a principal, so I'm gonna be telling you guys things that I know will work in your classroom.
For booking, please visit S. Hurt, School Turnaround Specialist.
Hurt, the school turnaround principal, and I am excited regarding the work that I'm doing. This past year, I was able to work with many districts all over the world, and we are going to the next level. Certain districts have been able to increase the report card grade from an F to a B, from a D to an A, and also we have gotten a couple of schools off the CSI list. Now, my next stage is I want to take schools and make them become national blue ribbon schools. So once again, if you would like to go to that next level, hey, just inbox me, reach out to me, and we can make it work. I'm excited. This work I'm doing is blessing schools all over the world. So if you want to be that next national blue ribbon school, hey, reach out and let's go ahead and do the work. And also with that, I got 2 dynamic books that I have that schools are picking up as we speak, and man, these are blessing your school. One is on school transformation, and the other one is on for parents and teachers and principals to come together as one for student success. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. This is Mr. Hurt with your Saturday morning podcast. Come on in and hit that share button and let's share. This is going to be another powerful podcast. How to implement instructional rounds the right way. How to implement instructional rounds the right way. So give me about 2 minutes as I get all of my Facebook and LinkedIn friends and people on YouTube. And when you come in, bring somebody and let me know where you're coming from. You know, I like to give love. I like to see where everyone's coming from. So make sure you come on in and tell me where you're coming from. So I just got a few more people that I want to, few more people that I want to come in, and they always say, Hurt, you start too soon. So I'm going to go slow so I get all of my folks and all of my folks in. And I know it's a Saturday morning and it's so nice and it's you got a lot of things to do, but I thank you for coming in, supporting my podcast. You know, we call ourselves Super Saturday. It's myself at 10 o'clock. We have Create and Educate at 10:30. And we have our mentor, my good friend, Principal Kafele, at 11. And then on Sunday, we have Josh Tarver at 7 o'clock on Sunday. So, yep. So I'm excited. This is another good episode. Come on, you can still be in your living room, still working out and still do what you do, listening to me. So just come on in and give me about 30 more seconds. I get all my people in. I know in Michigan is real nice. It's nice for middle of October. It's really nice for middle of October. You know, usually it gets a little cold, but I'm pleased. I'm looking outside and the sun is out and the birds are flying around and just a lot of good things happening. But the most important thing is that we have to make sure that we as a team, we get our schools together. All right, I think I'm about set. Let me see who's with me. Let's see who's with me. All right. All these, let me go to my chat. All right. Who we got here? Good morning, Dr. Jeter. Good morning from Illinois. Good morning. It's nice seeing you. Hey, Miss Nancy Edwards. How are you doing, Principal Edwards? It's good seeing you. It's good seeing you, Mrs. Chuno, Melissa Chuno. Good morning. Good morning to you. It's good seeing you, Mrs. Flowers. Where are you from Georgia. From Brunswick, Georgia. Good morning, Miss Flowers. Good morning to you. Good morning. I got Garfield WT from Atlanta in the house. I love it. Oh, Miss Cannell Williams from OKC. It's good seeing you. You know, I'll be talking about you in a few more minutes. So stay on there. Stay on there. I got I got Brown. I got Miss Brown. Where are you from? You said good morning. So good morning to you. Good morning. I got Stacy L. Joy in the house. Under the weather and under the covers tuning in. Well, thank you for tuning in. Praying for you. Go ahead and get a speedy recovery. But I appreciate you tuning in and supporting me. Thank you. I got Miss Vicky Mosi, Miss Vicky Mosi from Jacksonville. Oh, we're still keeping the Florida people up in prayers throughout the hurricane. Hopefully everything is fine for you. So thank you for tuning in. I appreciate that. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. All right. All right, so come on and hit that share button. Let's go ahead, and I'm about to get started. Okay, we have Miss Blackwell. Good morning from North Carolina. Good morning to you, Miss Blackwell. All right, I'm excited. I'm pumped up. You still got time to come in, get your pencil and paper out. Once again, my name is Sean Hurt, school turnaround principal, and I am conducting my Saturday morning podcast, and I'm excited again this morning. I'm excited. And what we're going to talk about is that we're going to talk about how to implement instructional rounds the right way. There's a right way and a wrong way to do it, and I'm going to talk about how to do it the right way. So you asked the question, Mr. Hurt, why should I listen to you? Why should I tune in and take these notes? Because I've been doing instructional rounds as a principal. I did that for like 15 years. 15 years. And then as a consultant, as a person that works with schools all over the world, I'm still doing that. You know, I've the past 2 years I've done at least about 8 to 10 instructional rounds at different schools. So I have that insight and things of that nature. And it is instructional round season. Mostly instructional rounds are taking place in October. Usually you give teachers about 6 or 7 weeks to get settled in, get their pedagogy together, get things in place, and then you do instructional rounds. So that's why I am talking about it as we speak. But before we get into that, I always ask the question, you know, this is a very powerful question. What keeps you up at night as an educator? What is the one or two things that when you are in the bed, what is keeping you up at night? So I always ask that question. So put it in a chat for me. What's keeping me up at night and what are some of the things that I'm thinking about is innovation needs to take place in schools all over the world. We are still doing things that we were doing in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and the early 2000s. We need to be innovative, especially in our rural and inner city schools. So that's what's keeping me up at night. I'm asking myself, okay, principals, leaderships, we have to be innovative. We cannot expect to have positive outcomes, high student achievement, if we're still doing the same thing we were doing 40 years ago. 40 years ago, think about 40 years ago. Some of you say, I'm not that old. Well, hey, the people that's old enough, think about 40 years ago. Chalkboard, no computers, no cell phones, just the teacher standing up, lecturing. You got the books in front of you. You're sitting in rows, chalkboard writing, and you're taking notes. Now, it might not look like that in 2024, but it still has the same type of vibe. It still has the same type of feeling when you go into the classroom. So that's what's keeping me up at night. Let's innovate this thing. Let's do something different. So let's put in the chat. Everybody talk to me. What's keeping you up at night as an educator? What's keeping you up at night as an educator? Next thing, what's going on with Sean Hurt? Well, I am excited. I'm excited. This week has been a very blessed week. On yesterday, I was in Idaho, working with Superintendent Strong and her team. I enjoyed myself. First time I've ever been to Idaho, so I was able to drive through there and see some of the sites. But I spent the whole day on yesterday with Superintendent Strong and her team, and I enjoyed myself. We rolled up our sleeves and we went to work. You know what I did. We looked at the data, the driver instruction. They use NWA, so I was in my bag in that. We looked at best classroom managements. We talked about, okay, 8th grade teacher, seventh grade teacher, middle school teacher, elementary teacher. What does those best classroom managements look like? So we discussed that. We did a data gallery walk. So we put the data up, and all of the teachers walked around and they saw the different data from different grade levels. And we did noticings and wonderings and things of that nature. So it's funny because, during my PDs, we just have a good time. But the most important thing that I was impressed with Principal Strong, Superintendent Strong, and her team was that they are focused to have some of the highest achieving data, the highest achievement scores by the end of the year. That's what she said. She said, Mr. Hurt, I want to move this school to a whole nother level. I want to have some of the highest scores in the Idaho area. So hats off to you. I enjoy myself. All right. Next, I will be doing a virtual PD with a school district in South Carolina on Wednesday. So I'm gonna have all of my principals in there, from the elementary to the high school virtual PD. I'm gonna have the elementary in the morning, in the middle school, and high school principals in the afternoon, and we're doing the same thing virtually. So I'm excited regarding that. And then on Monday, the following Monday, I will be in Oklahoma City, with my good friend Principal Williams. She's on there, and I'm gonna be spending the whole day with her. I'm going into the classroom during the day, and then after school, I'm gonna be sitting with her leadership team. We're gonna open up the data. We're gonna set up goals for the remainder of the year, and we're doing all of those things. So I'm pumped up. I'm happy. I cannot wait, because I'm so passionate about the work. I was in Idaho yesterday. It's a 3-hour difference, and I just got in about 7 o'clock this morning. So I just got in about 3 hours ago. Came home, put my luggage down, had a little breakfast with my wife, and then I'm on my podcast. So listen, I'm passionate. This is why I do the work. This is why I do the work, because I know that if we had schools all over the world that was doing the right things for our kids, that was able to put best practices in, that was able to really just sit down and say, let's roll up our sleeves and let's do what's right, we would change schools all over the world. We would change every inner city and rural school. And I truly believe that. So that's why I'm doing the work. All right. So you say, her, enough about that. Let's go ahead. I want to learn about instructional rounds. So I'm going to talk about that. So as of this month, usually you'll have 90 to 95% of schools all over the world that will be conducting instructional rounds as we speak. So now I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to say, okay, we're going to talk about the right way to do it and the wrong way to do it, okay? So we're going to talk about the right way and the wrong way. So you still got time. Hit that share button. I need you to hit that share button, because more people should be hearing this. More people should be hearing this regarding the right way and the wrong way to do it. So what are instructional rounds? Instructional rounds are a structured practice for educators to work together to improve instruction. Instructional rounds are a structured, write it down, practice as a structure. It's not something we just make up or we say, hey, we're going to have instructional rounds on Monday. No, it's structured practice for educators to work together, not to work separate, not to work, by yourself, but to work together to improve instruction in the classroom. Okay? During instructional rounds, groups of educators, so that means 3 or 4 people of educators, observe one another in the classroom, develop a shared understanding of high quality instruction, and reflect on their own practice. So that means, and then I'm gonna go over the tips on what that looks like, but that's the definition. During instructional rounds, I'm gonna repeat this, right? Put it in the chat. Groups of educators observe one another in the classroom. So that means I might have a 3rd grade teacher, a 7th grade teacher, and an 8th grade teacher with the principal and assistant principal. So it's 5 of us. We have a rubric, and we just go into different classrooms to observe the practice of our fellow teachers. And then from there, we look at it, debrief, and I'm going to talk about what that looks like to be able to reflect on what's taking place in the classroom. It is not a time to say Mrs. Potato Plant is doing bad. It is not a time to evaluate Mr. Potato Plant. It is not a time to say, you know what, you need to be doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is not what instructional rounds is supposed to be. But a lot of times we get into that because we don't have the right rubrics and things in place. And I know I'm talking good now because, yes, Dr. Houston, what's up? You know I'm talking good. So now you say, okay, Hurt, we've been doing instructional rounds, but we haven't been doing it the right way. That's fine. When you know better, you do better. So let's switch it up and let's do it the right way. Okay, so you say, Hurt, what is the right way? I'm going to talk to you about what the right way is. Thank you. I got Miss Klingman in the house from Flint. My girl, Miss Klingman. Good morning to you. Tell your husband I said hi. Good morning, good morning, good morning. So let's talk about the 6 steps, because now we have people on here that will be conducting instructional rounds. We have people on here that have contracts with other school districts, and you're going to be part of that. So let's talk about what it looks like and things of that nature. Okay. Number 1, so we're going to talk about the 6 steps to implement instructional rounds the right way. The 6 steps. The first one, begin team facilitator preparation. Assign a team facilitator to help guide the process. So assign one person. That is the team facilitator. So you got 6 people on the team. Assign one person. So that means I'm going to identify one person to help guide the process, while the teaching team identifies an instructional area of focus for the upcoming learning walk. So then, for example, as a team, you have to identify an area of focus. Write it down. The first thing is that we find a facilitator, and that person will kind of organize us. They're not the leader, but they are the facilitator of the 5 other people, right? Then from there, you identify an instructional area of focus. What do you mean by that, Mr. Hurt? Well, it can be, we're going to look at engagement. So when we go into these classrooms, we're going to focus on engagement and depth of knowledge. That's the area of focus for us. We're not going to look at if the classroom is clean. We're going to not look at if the objectives are on a lesson on the board. We're not going to look at if the teacher is walking around the classroom. We're not going to look at if the teacher goes into small groups to do differentiated instruction. That is not what we're focusing on. The area of focus will be on engagement and depth of knowledge. Does that make sense? So that's the first thing. Identify who is going to be the facilitator. And then also, what is the area of focus? When we go into the classroom, what are we looking for in the classroom? Talk to me. Yes. Share it out. Thank you, Dr. Jeter, for sharing it out. People, thank you. I appreciate that. People need to hear this. People need to hear this, because when you do instructional rounds the right way, it will bless your school. It will take your school to a whole nother level. Number 2, conduct a team debriefing. Before you go into the classrooms, to facilitate a pre-round debriefing meeting with the entire teaching team. Articulate the objectives of the instructional round to ensure that everyone is on the same page. Before you go into the classrooms, pretty much you're going to meet with all of the teachers, everybody. You're going to sit down and say, we're going to conduct instructional rounds in 2 weeks on October the 30th from 9 to 3 o'clock. And these are the 2 things that we're going to be looking for. So it won't be no instructional rounds. You're not supposed to surprise anybody. is not I got you. Thank you, Principal Fele, for telling me I'm talking good. I know. Like I said, you have principles on here, and when you do it right, it will move the school. It is not I got you. It is not, oh, I'm about to set this teacher up for failure. What you want to do is that you want to show the teachers when we come into the classroom. So I know Principal Fele's have done many instructional rounds. I have done. Dr. Jeter has done. Dr. Houston, you name it. Dr. Kleeman, all of these educators, all of you guys have done it. But you don't want to I got you. When I was a teacher, I didn't want them to I got me. I want to know what they're coming there looking for. So now I can not say prepare, but I can know exactly how to kind of, sharpen my tool belt in those areas during the instructional rounds. So you do it meet with the staff and say, these are the two things that we're going to be looking for: engagement and depth of knowledge. So it's called conduct a team debriefing before you do the instructional rounds. I'm going to stop right there. Put in the chat if this is sounding good. I'm not going fast because, once again, you're going to have millions of schools all over the world doing instructional rounds in October. And then they're going to do another set in March. Why do we do it? Because we want to give the teachers about 4 to 5 months to improve their pedagogy. So now I have instructional rounds in October, in the beginning of the year. And then we have November, December, January, February, March. So we got about 5 months to be able to do what we have to do. So usually you will have instructional rounds that will take place 2 times a year. Number three, begin data collection. That's the third step. Begin data collection. Conduct their learning walks by visiting classrooms in groups of 2 to 3 team members. I did not know, Mr. Hurt, it should be no more than 2 to 3. Yes. You should not do instructional rounds with all 6 folks going into the classroom. So what you should do is that 2 or 3 should be in Mr. Potato Plant's class. I got 2 or 3 in Mrs. Potato Plant's class. And then I got another 2 or 3 people in Mr. Humpty Dumpty's class. So I got 3 in Mr. Potato Plant, 3 in Mrs. Potato Plant, and another 3 in Mr. Humpty Dumpty's class. Not all 6, okay? Okay. And then from there, you follow the observation protocol and take notes on the observations in the classroom. Document objectively and honestly. So what you're supposed to be documenting is what you see. It is not your opinion, how you feel about it, your facts. You're just documenting what you see. I noticed that Mr. Potato Plant got up and he went to the back of the classroom to work with 5 boys at the kidney table. These are some of the questions that I heard Mrs. Potato Plant ask during her math lesson. I noticed that there were 4 kids over in the right corner working on their social studies lesson, having some good conversation regarding what the lesson was about. You're not putting your feelings, you're not putting your opinion on it. You're not saying, well, I feel that the teacher should have done what. No, that is not what instructional rounds are like. When I'm working with schools, we call it noticings and wonderings. Oh, I'm in my bag this morning. You say, Hurt, man, I've been coming in there with 7 folks, and I've been putting my opinions. No more than 3 people. Write down what you see. It's called noticings and wonderings. Oh man, that sounds good, Hurt. Yep. Stay with me. I got 3 more minutes. So we got number 1, begin team facilitator preparation. Number 2, conduct a team debriefing. Number 3, begin data collection. Number 4, I got my notes. Hit that share button. Come on, more people need to hear this. Hit that share button. Number 4, debrief following the learning walk. Facilitators share observations using a structural protocol. Begin discussing by highlighting positive practice you observe. Do not name specific teachers. Instead, focus on how the students receive instruction and identify common instructional challenges across the classroom. So what you're going to do is that you're going to highlight what you observe. Give me 1 second. I'm getting excited about this. You're going to highlight what you observe. You're going to debrief that same day. We're not waiting 2 or 3 days. It's the same day after you visit the classroom, and you start off with positive practice that you observe. What positive things did we see? You're not naming names. You're going to say, I went into 7 classrooms and I observed that in 6 classrooms, I saw a depth of knowledge at a level 3 and 4. You're not naming names. You're not saying Mr. Potato Plant or Mrs. Humpty Dumpty. No names. You're just overall saying this is what I observed during my 6 or 7 classroom visits. And then you're going to focus on how the students was receiving the instruction and identify. That means write it down. Identify common instructional challenges that was across the classrooms. So you're going to talk about the positive things you've seen first. And then you identify, you're not naming names, things that they need to work on. Things that that you saw that happen across the board in the classrooms when you were in there. So now what I saw might be different than what my colleagues saw, but we're in the classrooms and we're sharing notes. We're talking about it, based on our observation. We conducted debriefing the same day. We conduct the debriefing the same day. Yes, it's called, yes, Principal Williams. And then, we talked about noticings and wonderings. Not my opinion, not how I feel. Noticings and wondering. All right. I got 2 more. So let me just let me talk about the next one. Conduct, analyze, and reflect on your findings. So now you didn't conduct it. So you're going to analyze the collected data to pinpoint the cause of instructional challenges. Reflect on the implications of the findings to student learning and teaching practice. So after you debrief, you collect the data and you pinpoint the cause of the instructional challenges. What is causing us to have low level of instruction in the classroom? What is the cause of it? Because you collected the data, now we have to look at the cause. What is causing us to do this? Okay, that's number 5. Number 6, then decide how to move forward. You don't just spend a whole day doing instructional rounds to say you did it and check the box. We need to decide how to move forward. These are the 3 things that we saw that was positive, and these are the 2 or 3 things that we saw is an area of focus. Now we need to decide how to move forward so we can attack the area of focus. So I'm gonna stop right there. It is 10:29, and my good friends Crane and Educate comes on at 10:30. So thank you very much for allowing me to come in and talk about instructional rounds. Please show this during your meetings. If you have instructional rounds next week, hey, show this video. So thank you very much. Please, if you like for me to come out to your school and district, let me know, inbox me. I would love to come and support your school. Also, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube page. I have so many videos, so much information. It will bless you and your district. So thank you very much. I love you. Let's have a good week. Instructional rounds. And once again, my good friends in Idaho, Superintendent Strong, keep up the good work. And I will be in OKC next week working with Principal Williams. Take care. And I'll see everybody next week. Same time, same place. Let's go.